welcome to my 517 Follow Friday series. Today I am joined by Beth Reed and Kate Pease from T.W.I.G.S. T.W.I.G.S stands for To Work in Grateful Service, which is a local area nonprofit that offers supportive services to cancer patients. I have the distinct honor of being on the board with these lovely ladies, and I get to work with them and just watch as the organization grows and impacts the community. Thank you both so much for taking your time to chat with me today. Beth, why don't we start with you? Can you talk just a little bit about your mom and the motivation that you had to start T.W.I.G.S?
Sure. I started T.W.I.G.S after losing my mom to pancreatic cancer. It will be 5 years. Wow, in July. And during her treatment process, she was able to not work, and she had a housekeeper, and my dad could take time off to take her to and from appointments, and they had someone to take care of the yard. And these services we found, and she commented on multiple times, were so very helpful because they're just a very energy draining things that need to be done every day, that she didn't have to worry about. So if after chemo she wasn't having a good time, or she had a rough couple of days, she didn't have to worry about the kind of things that need to be done around the house that you can't really neglect. And so after she passed, um, you know, I was trying to find a way that I could give back to the cancer community, because my experience helping her as a caretaker, as her daughter, and watching her go through the process, I hadn't realized how complicated it was, and so it really made me want to do something to help out others in the way that my mom found useful while she was going through treatment.
Yeah, and I'm sure that not everyone has a daughter around or has a spouse that can help with those things. So there's a lot of people that are just, they're forced to do those things for themselves. There's certain things that just have to get done. So um, that's really great. Kate, your mom courageously fought breast cancer. You had firsthand experience as well, just with providing support and resources to her. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, my mom was diagnosed in 2017 with stage 4. And it was obviously a devastating diagnosis for our family because it came so quick, right? Usually, you get your mammograms and there's early detection and everything like that. Unfortunately, because there was no family history of breast cancer, her doctor recommended that she go to every 18 months to 2 year mammograms. And so she followed that protocol. And unfortunately, when she went in for her 18-month mammogram, it was already stage 4. So um, we had amazing doctors, and I was fortunate enough to be a small business owner where I could finagle my schedule to help her, because my dad, um, he's just one of those types of people that he goes into a doctor's appointment and you can ask him like, what did the doctor say? And he's like, oh, I don't remember, So it was imperative that somebody else was there to just listen and get instruction and analyze everything that's being said to you. So I was fortunate enough to be able to do that for her. And I had support of my siblings and my husband as well, and my mother-in-law, who is actually a nurse at the cancer center that my mom went to at Sparrow. So we had a lot of like hands on deck. But the same that Beth said, my mom worked through her entire diagnosis. She didn't retire until May of 2020.
Wow.
And she didn't really get that whole joys of retirement. Um, she worked, and she was just amazing through it all, honestly. But like Beth said, working through something like that, I think that when you get a diagnosis like that, you don't think of the stuff that Beth talked about, right? Like the house cleaning, the yard, the grocery shopping, any of that. So, like I said, I was fortunate enough to be able to finagle my schedule to do that stuff for her.
I can't imagine having a diagnosis like that and still continuing to work and having to take on all of that. She must have been an amazing woman to be able to do that. So either one of you that want to share, talk about kind of the services that T.W.I.G.S is offering and how you're coming into people's lives to um, offer those resources, kind of relieve some of that burden? What does that look like for patients?
Um, we have partnerships with Sparrow and McLaren oncology departments, their radiation departments. They all their social workers know who we are, and they'll reach out on quite a frequent basis and say, I have a client who needs services. And a lot of times those are rides. And so then we go from there and find out what their schedule is and see if, myself or a volunteer can go and help and give them a ride. Also, it's word of mouth referrals we've gotten, and a couple of our clients, they'll reach out. And one of the things, and I'll just touch on this briefly, that we have found is that people are resistant to ask for help. I know that Kate's mom was very independent, like self-sufficient woman, and she was one of the catalysts for this program because she was so able to do so much, even though she was going through so much. And it is hard when you're that kind of person to say, hey, this is too much for me. I can't do it all on my own. And a lot of times people will reach out, it'll take a couple months, and they'll say, hey, I really just can't keep up on the house cleaning. Can you just come and do my floors? Or can you just come and weed my garden for me? And when that happens, they call and they talk to me, and we set up a schedule and something that'll work for them. And I'll go to their house and see what needs to be done. And then we just go from there. A lot of our clients will just let us in. They disappear for the moment, and we take care of what needs to be done, and we leave and leave them a note and say, thanks, let us know if you need us again. And then some people are recurring. If you could do this every 2 weeks, that's great. Sometimes it's a one-time thing, and that's fine too. We're really just there to lift those burdens when needed. And the other thing I'll mention, we do, you asked what we do. We do rides. We do yard care. So, mowing, weeding, snow plowing in the winter, and then errand runs and light housekeeping. And we do have partnerships with some people in our community. Grand Vista Landscapers are one of them, and they'll come in and do like the snow plowing for us, and we have programming costs that can cover that. But I guess those are what we provide, and the way we do it is you just reach out to us and we'll find a way to help you and what works best for you and what you need. And it's not a hard definition of, sorry, that's my dog, of what needs to be done. But we kind of find out what their needs are, and within those 4 programs, we figure out how we can help them.
Great. So I know that Twigs is still small. We're growing, and it's a new resource for the community. So because it's smaller, we don't have a ton of volunteers. You're doing a lot of this work too. I know that there are kind of like eligibility requirements per se. Can you share a little bit about that, just so that people understand, we do have to be somewhat selective in who we're helping so that we don't get burnt out?
Yes. And also for the safety of our clients, right? So our volunteers are, I always like to kind of say, it kind of takes a special kind of person to want to volunteer for our organization. We are a one-on-one usually type of situation. It's usually 1 or 2 of us going into a house, or one of us giving a ride, and you're in direct contact with a client that is immunosuppressed and battling cancer. And so one of the requirements is that you wear a mask, because right now we're living in a world where there's a lot of diseases and they're easily spread, and we can't be passing them on to someone whose immune system is compromised. That you're vaccinated for the same reason. That you go through a rigorous background check, and we can provide that for them, or they can offer to donate that as something that they're willing to do. So you go through a screening process in the sense that you call and we talk to you, or you fill out our application and we'll talk to you, and then we go through the background check. And you get to decide what kind of services you want to provide. We're not here to dictate what you like to do. We want you to want to do it. But there are some things that we need to have in place before having you work with us, because we are in the business of going into people's houses and riding with them in a car. And it's a very intimate and personal experience for these folks, and they aren't feeling well. And we want to make sure that they feel safe and protected, as well as our volunteers are safe and protected too. So.
And then what about on the the people that we're providing the services to? What about on that side of it? Are there limitations there, where there's certain people that already have access to resources?
Yes,
And so they're not gonna be eligible for what we offer.
we provide our services are of free to the clients. However, we ask that if it's something that you're financially able to provide for yourself, that you don't utilize our services in that regard because, we're trying to help those who don't have the ability to pay for that kind of stuff. Not that we wouldn't come like weed your garden or something like along that line, but a continued housekeeping service or something might be something we have to restrict. As far as rides go, if you're able to get a ride of your own, we ask that you do that. We are limited in our resources as of right now, especially in the ride department. And so if you have access to a ride and it's not cost prohibitive to you, then we ask that you utilize that ride first and then use us as a last possible option. And that way we can provide supplemental rides and we aren't your sole ride provider if you can afford or have access to a different ride. So as we grow, that might be able to change. If we had a whole slew of volunteers, then those things are fluctual. But right now, that's where we are.
Right. So based on the services that we're offering, are there other community partners that you're looking to connect with? Like as Twigs grows and you want to be able to offer more services, that dog just wants to join us. Oh my
I
goodness.
really would just let him out if I could do it in a manner that would work well for you and he would stop barking.
It's okay. Um, so yeah, what are there community partners that you're looking to add to either to be able to offer current services to more people or just to offer more services?
Yes, in particular, and we do have a couple people have reached out recently, but we are looking for local cleaning businesses that can help partner with us. Um, Local lawn care businesses in case the one we're working with can't do the job. And again, this would be a situation where you would either offer it to us at a lowered cost and Twigs could pay for it through our programming costs, or if you wanted to volunteer for free, that would be even more amazing. But we would only reach out to you when we needed it. If it was something that a volunteer wasn't able to do, if it was a job a little bit too big for maybe a volunteer, then that would be when we would implement those services. And that would really help us to be able to help people in a larger capacity.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, really, we'd love to have like a stockpile of,
Mhm.
all of these that we could call and say, hey, so and so can't do this. Do you have any time in your schedule to do this? But like you said, we are small and we're just starting out, but we'll get there.
Right. It just occurred to me that there's got to be some teenage kids out there somewhere who want to mow lawns and could pull some of them together and they would be able to help out with some of those services. So um, what about other needs? So, I know that you talked about volunteers a little bit. We had our gratitude breakfast last November, and I know that there are different fundraising opportunities. Overall, what are the biggest needs that Twigs has right now?
We always need funding, and it is not an easy thing to talk about when you're asking people for money, right? That's a kind of an awkward conversation sometimes. But the fact of the matter is we are a nonprofit, and our programs and our ability to help the cancer community in the Lansing area is relying on people and their generous donations. And we have been very blessed in this last year to have many community members and different grants and stuff offered to us and given to us throughout the community. But even just shares on social media or following us on social media, so you do know what's going on. So we do have a fundraiser. Even if you can't participate, you can share with your family and friends who might be able to. The more people we have that know about who we are and what we're doing in our community, the more access to funds we have. You don't always say that people, I don't have a lot to give. Well, you might not, but $5 given by 100 people adds up. So
Yep.
those types of community shares, social media shares, just talking about our services and getting the word out there so that when we do have fundraisers, we have more and more in attendance and that type of stuff. If you can't actually give financially, are very helpful.
Yeah. So what does 2023 look like for Twigs? Don't worry about the dog.
2023 for Twigs. We are excited to be able to do another gratitude breakfast this year. I'll mention that first because that'll be an ongoing fundraiser. It looks like around November 4th. It's the first Saturday in 2023 in November, and that's what we're going to plan on doing again. In the spring here, we have a community outreach program. We are partnering with the local dojo in Holt, and they are going to help us help 5 families in the Holt Mason Lower Lansing area to have a spring cleanup in their yards. So the dojo students are
Nice.
going to come out. We're going to have people nominate some families in the area. So look for that to come out on our website and Facebook, so you can think of somebody who could use that spring cleanup. And then those kids are going to come out and use their karate muscles to help us clean up some yards. So that will be a fun event. Other than that, anything else we might have will come up again on our Facebook if you want to follow us, or go onto our website. And we really are looking to grow and help more families this year. We keep gaining clientele, which is wonderful. We helped a little over 15 last year, and so we're hoping to double that number this year.
That's great. Is there anything else either of you want to share today?
Just thank you for the opportunity to talk about T.W.I.G.S. I know one of the first people I told about T.W.I.G.S was Kate here, who's joined us today, because her mom was she was the person my mom talked about. How do people do that? How do people go to work? And we feel like our moms are, I'm going to get emotional here, carrying us through on this journey, and they're really, kind of pushing us along. And it's a great thing to be able to heal through giving back. And so we're excited to show you all that we have had to come and give back to the community.
Well, I've just loved working with you guys. Sorry, I just interrupted you, Kate, and I was just gonna say that I loved working with you guys, and that you are both really just honoring their memories and everything that you're doing. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Kate?
I was just gonna say, I'm so honored that Beth asked me along this it was crazy for a while there, journey. And Katrina, I just want to touch on what you just said. It's very healing to give back to people that you know this so personally, that they're going through, and it really it's healed a big part of my heart. And I'm just so excited to watch this organization grow and be able to help more people.
I am as well. So thank you both so much for joining me today. I will put all of T.W.I.G.'s contact information, Facebook links, all of that in the caption for the video. So everyone who's watching will be able to follow along. Like you said, Beth, they can check out Facebook page and website and everything for upcoming events. If you see the posts, share them, like them, get the word out. If you are interested in volunteering, if you want to learn more about the services, if you have a loved one that needs the services, please reach out. And then if you're interested in being on my 517 Fellow Friday series, you can send me an email at katrina@cornerstonelegalpllc.com. Thanks for watching.